Hi everyone. Today is actually Wednesday, August the 27th, 2025. And I want to say, here we are. I feel like the young kids show. And I am sitting on a staircase out back at my mom's house, my parents' home. Tomorrow I am going up to, actually Friday, I'm going up to Sudbury and getting the second round of the first set of chemo. It's 12 different times that I have to do chemo, but they counted in 6 rounds. So that's why when I put up these videos, the first 2 said round 1A, and this one especially will say round 1B, because it's like the second half. I don't totally understand. I don't even begin to pretend that I totally understand any of this journey that I'm going through. But that's okay. Here I am in the midst of it all, anyhow. So today, I'm just taking the time and enjoying the time of being here in a place where I can feel calm and comfortable and peaceful and know here or anywhere that, beyond a shadow of a doubt, God is with me. So the last time actually that we were there and I was going through my treatments, I sit in a very comfortable chair along with a number of people with quite a distance in between the bunch of us. But you see people come and go, and you catch snatches of conversations on the way by. And there was one gentleman in particular, an older gentleman, who went and he said, "Oh, you're sticking me down in the corner." And he went all the way down to the corner chair. And he was just kind of joking around with the nurses. And he didn't have any hair. Now, he may not have had any hair to begin with, but with cancer and the treatments, one never knows. Maybe he had a whole head of hair. All I know is that where he was over right near a room that has all sorts of wigs in it that you can choose from. And he said, "Are there any dreadlocks in there? I want a set of dreadlocks. Do you have any?" And he was making, hope there's mosquitoes out here. Yay. He was making the nurses laugh while he was there. And he was making the whole time, I may have to step inside. He was making the whole time that he was there an enjoyable time for others, for the nurses, and then it would in turn, make it more enjoyable, if that were possible, for himself as well. Okay, I have moved inside the house now. There's our car outside. This is looking down. I hope you're not afraid of heights. Whee! But I'm looking down into the wonderful parlor, as I call it, here at our home. It's a 2-story, I guess, at least. I don't know, it's a very tall house. And I'm up on the balcony, and Mom and Steve are being very quiet once I finish off sharing this time with you. So, as I was saying, there was this gentleman, and he wanted dreadlocks, and he was just making the whole atmosphere for everyone around, for the nurses, for himself, for his wife, for those within hearing distance, just so much more pleasant than it could have been. And I have to admit that I thought to myself, I really wish I could be more like him. Now, I don't know how many times he had been through. I don't know what round of chemo he was on or any of that jazz. I just knew that I admired the way that he was looking at it and going about it. For my first go through, it was kind of tricky. Everything was still very tender from having the PICC line put in the first day. and everything was very new and very scary, really, because it's not anything that I had ever experienced before in that manner. Yay, God. And admittedly, I'm hoping it's something that I will never really have to experience again once we're done all this. So I got to thinking how really in the midst of it all, as I've said a million times, that we're really just trusting that God is doing something in the midst of all this, that he is going to work through the videos and to reach out to you folk and to encourage you as well. But what I would like to see in the midst of all this too is God doing something in my own life. And one of the favorite verses in my family, my mom's favorite verse, is Romans 8:28. And it says, we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, for those who have been called according to his purposes. But it's verse 29 as well that is so very, very important in the midst of this journey. Because we can see that it says in verse 28, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. For those God foreknew, it says in verse 29, he also predestined to be conformed to the likeness of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brothers. And those he predestined, he also called. And those he called, he also justified. Those he justified, he also glorified. That's a mouthful. That's a mouthful for Christians to understand. That's a mouthful for those who aren't overly familiar with God to understand. But what it says in essence is that if you love God, if you have given your life to him, then you can be assured that no matter what thing is going on, that in all things he will be working in your life for your good and for his glory. But verse 29 says is that the very best part of the good is that he's going to use all of these things, good things, bad things, all things, to conform us, to make us more into the image of God. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to make us little gods running around, okay? It has nothing, that is so beyond far from the truth. What it means is that we will reflect him better. There will be something about us that's just that little bit different. It's everything you want it to be. And you don't even have to do it. God works on it and does it inside of you. It's an inside work. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well, but everything good that you wanted to be, everything that you ever admired that was worthy and truthful and right and encouraging to others and helpful and all of those things, everything that you may have ever admired about God, about Christ himself, that is what he uses these all things for, to make us more like that, to make us more like him, to be just that extra something. And he does use it to encourage others, but it also encourages us. It's life and fulfillment, and the way that you can go to bed at the end of the night, you know what I mean, at nighttime, and not feel guilt about something that you did or didn't do, or said or didn't say. You will know that you have worked and fulfilled everything that he called you to do that day. So I kind of want to be like that man over in the corner asking for the dreadlocks. When I go this time, if you all could pray for me, that I will be a light in that room, that it won't be so painful that I'll be crying, that I will encourage the nurses and the people around me, that I will go through and be able to share Christ, that I will be conformed more and more to the image, the likeness of Christ, not to be a little God, but to be someone that points people to God, that points them to love and beauty and holiness. And that's what I want. In my life, Lord, be glorified, be glorified. In my life, Lord, be glorified today. Blessings, everyone.